An empty highway. Wouldn't this be a great place to drive? If only there were no other vehicles, no people, no road construction, this job would be a piece of cake. But we drive in the real world. We share the highway with both good and bad drivers. There are plenty of chances to get into trouble. Recognizing a hazard and dealing with it before it becomes an accident is the mark of the professional driver.
Hazard perception for a truck driver is a skill that they have acquired and developed in order to drive the thousands of miles that they drive, and if they do it safely, they've learned to identify potential hazards. Where we get into trouble is when we identify them, but we don't react to them. We see them, but we don't do anything.
There are 3 simple steps to making sure you can recognize hazards and finish your run safely. The first is making sure that you're ready to drive. You have to be alert. We all know that alcohol and drugs will impair your ability to recognize hazards. You've seen enough drunks on the road to realize that. But even a mild hangover can seriously reduce your ability to see a hazard in time. Make sure that you avoid alcohol for at least 24 hours before you start your run. Fatigue is another problem. Never exceed your allowable hours. When you feel groggy, stop and take a break. An accident can cost you a lot more than a few minutes of time. The second step in hazard recognition is to have a plan to identify and deal with problems. One of the best techniques for safe driving is called conversational driving.
What we try to do is narrate each activity. Whatever we're doing, whether it's getting the eye-to-eye contact or watching the intersections, what we do is make sure that as we go, we cover as many of these things and tell them why we're doing what we're doing and the benefits and how to do it as well. The timing of it. When do I look? When do I not look? How do I shift? When's the best time to shift? How do I use the brake? And when I come to this turn, how am I going to set up for this turn? All these kinds of things you can talk through.
Keep watching both sides of the truck. I'm going to signal and move to the left as I go around these people on the bicycles. Watch the intersections.
You may feel a little silly at first just talking to yourself, but once you get into it, you'll find you're driving better and with more confidence. The third step in hazard recognition is to know common road hazards and have a plan to deal with them. As you drive, keep scanning ahead, behind, left, and right. Check your mirrors regularly to spot hazards to the sides and rear. Do this continually as you drive, and use your conversational driving to sharpen your perception. Keep a safe zone on all 4 sides of your vehicle. Avoid getting trapped with little space to maneuver. Always have an emergency path in sight. It's easier steering around hazards than hitting the brakes in tight areas. Constantly look for a way to drive out of any problem. This is critical to your safety. Look past the vehicles in front of you. Brake lights can be a tip that there is a hazard ahead.
You're always supposed to be watching ahead of yourself, 15 to 20 seconds. You're surveying your area ahead of you, to the sides. You're using your mirrors normally every 7 to 10 seconds. This is what we try to tell them. Make it an automatic movement. When you look in your left mirror, take a sweep, look in all of the mirrors, end up in your right mirror and look at it. See what's going on. Understand what you're seeing in those mirrors. Watch the areas ahead of you and to the sides. Like I said, 15 to 20 seconds usually ahead of you. Leave yourself at least a 4-second interval of space between you and that car ahead of you.
But the real thing, I think, is not only that, but the concept of looking into the mirror and being able to identify the speed of the vehicle aside of you, the distance it is. That's a skill that really needs to be developed and needs to be practiced.
Driving in the city has its own set of hazards. Pedestrians can be unpredictable. Children can be even more impulsive and difficult to see. Defensive driving is critical. Keep your speed down. Many cities have tight bridges or overpasses to get under. Don't drive through unless you see the posted clearance. Slow down until you're certain you can get through. While there are many daytime driving hazards, night driving offers additional challenges. Animals may be on the move. Watch for their eyes reflecting from the roadside. A deer will lose in a collision with your rig, but might make you lose control of your vehicle. Impaired drivers are also common at night. Watch for the obvious. Weaving and excessively fast or slow speeds are potential signs of a drunk driver. Notice if a driver's car windows are open during cold weather. This can be a tip-off to an impaired driver. One last reminder. Happy hours at bars start in the afternoon. You can run into drunks during daylight hours as well as at night. Road construction presents its own problems. Narrow lanes, impatient drivers, and road workers can make this a real problem area. Keep your speed at or below the posted limit for construction areas, and watch out for construction vehicles backing into your path. Even an open stretch of highway can have problems. There can be debris on the road, some of it large. Boards, tire fragments, and other items can damage your tires, fuel lines, or even cause an accident. Keep an eye out for sharp drops at the edge of the pavement. If you miss this, you could lose control of the unit while going off the edge of the road. Recognizing hazards before they become accidents is your responsibility. You are the professional. Make sure that you're prepared to drive. Never drive after consuming alcohol or drugs. Make sure that there's at least 24 hours between your last drink and your trip. And keep rested. Fatigue will reduce your driving abilities. Use conversational driving as your main plan of action. It will make you more alert to potential dangers. Know the common hazards and be ready to deal with them. Think ahead and be alert. Have a plan to protect yourself and others.
It doesn't matter how much you drive or how long you've driven, you're still learning. There's a lot of things to learn. You never stop learning, not till the day you die.